My name is Margit Elna Hansen Smyth. The Hansen is my maiden name. And I was born in Gothenburg, Sweden. You can also pronounce that Göteborg. That's the Swedish pronunciation. Well, I grew up, I guess it was mostly in Brooklyn, New York, because that's where we moved when we left Sweden. We went to Brooklyn and we lived there for quite a few years, many years. And then for a little while we lived in New Jersey, about 4 years sort of. But then we came back to Brooklyn. When I was like 17, I had just graduated from high school, and my sister Annalisa, she had started going down to the Swedish folk dance group. So of course when I graduated from high school, I didn't know anybody. I was very shy, and I didn't know anybody. But Annalisa said she's going to take me down to the folk dance group. Well, of course, that's when my life began, really. Because I stayed with that folk dance group until we moved to Boston, you know, and that was many years. And I loved that because we learned the dances, and then we went out on exhibitions, and we went to 2 World's Fairs, actually, you know, because I stayed with it that long. And we danced there at the World's Fair, and it was really exciting, you know. I had a Swedish costume that my grandmother had made for me. She didn't make it, but she had it made. And it was not the province that I was born in, but it was nearby, but I loved that costume. So that's why she had somebody make it up for her, you know, to send to me. So I still have that costume. And the club had rented this, like a house, you know, but it had a big porch and everything, and it was sort of sitting up on a hill, you know, and the sound was down below. And then this was sitting up on a hill, so when we got off the bus, because we didn't have cars, you know, and we had to walk up this hill. But I remember it was so beautiful because when you got up on the hill, you could see all over. It was so beautiful. And there was a golf course next door. And then when it was nighttime, you see, and they had the sprinklers on the golf course, all of us folk dancers would get up there and would hop around in the sprinklers on this beautiful lawn. Well, I had a girlfriend who, she belonged to the folk dance group too. And she said to me that she had gone up to this ranch a couple of times. And she was supposed to go up there with another girl, you know, but then the other girl couldn't go. And so then she asked me if I wanted to go with her. And I said, well, you know, I'm thinking, I never rode a horse, you know, I don't know. But I thought, well, this sounds pretty good. I was kind of at a loose end, but I had the folk dance group, so, and she was part of that too. So anyway, I said, yeah, sure, I'll go, but then in the last minute she couldn't go herself. So then I had to make this decision in my head, am I going to go or am I going to cancel out? Well, I decided that I was going to go, and I went by myself. So, I mean, this was a strange place. I had never been here before, let alone ride a horse. But anyway, I took the train up because that was before I had the car. So then it was a lot of fun at the ranch. And they had the dance. Saturday night they had the big square dance and all kinds of other dancing. And it was real fun. So I couldn't go every weekend because it cost money. But I really enjoyed it, and riding the horses. And here I had never ridden a horse before in my life. But I got up on the horse and we rode, galloped down the road, and because I went up there as often as I could afford to go there, So one weekend, I went up there, and then this big group of like Englishmen, Irishmen came up. Nobody knew them, They were all from this ship, the Queen of Bermuda. And the ship was going into dry dock for a couple of weeks. So, the crew had, time on their hands, where they could do what they wanted. So this whole group of guys came up there. And, from there it was one big party after another. But I met John there, who turned out eventually to be my husband. And of course he was all dolled up. He had gotten his boots and everything, and his shirt. And I always loved that shirt. It was like little turquoise and white stripes in it, and a hat and everything. So anyway, we had a great time, because it was the square dancing in the evening, and then we'd be partying after that even, the party time all the time. So I didn't mind going up by myself. Then I got a car, and then it was a little easier for me to get up there too. So anyway, but this group from the ships, they came up and stayed like for a week there. Then, of course, they had to eventually go back on the ship, and I had to go back to work, of course, too. I couldn't, stay there forever. He called me when I was, back down in the city again, and because I lived in Brooklyn. And so I would meet him at the ship. Yeah, so, we had a lot of fun. We'd go out to dinner and go someplace to dance and everything, and we had a lot of fun, but then they always had to come back on the ship and then go back down to Bermuda. One time I did go with a friend. I took the Queen of Bermuda down there with my friend Pat, and her boyfriend was one of the guys who worked on the ship too. And then that was great. We had a lot of fun on the beaches and everything, and dancing, and they had like on the ship they had like a pirate party. All the guys were dressed up as pirates. But then, of course, we had to go back to work. I would just sort of tell my boss, I'm taking a few days off. I told him I'm going down to Bermuda. And he just looked at me and goes, oh. Say, Hanson, you're terrible. Oh, yes. Then the Queen was going to go back. That's the Queen of Bermuda. Was going to go back to England. And it was not going to come back here because it was going into dry dock. So he had to go with it, of course, because he didn't have any visa to stay here. You know, he was a British citizen, so even though he was born in Australia. But Australia was, you know, like this with the British. So, so anyway, he went, you know, but then I said, I'm going over there. So he didn't question it at all. You know, I think there was another girl who had her eyes on him too, you know, but I got there first. I can just see the whole picture. We were in some kind of a luncheonette place or something. And I said, I'm going down right now to get my visa and to get my shots, whatever I have to do. I'm going to go down and get it. And I did immediately. I didn't care about my job, nothing. But and Mama, well, she had met John, so she liked him very much, you know. And but I guess it was kind of a shock that I was going to go over there. You know, that was one thing. Him coming over here was one thing, but then he would have to get a visa, and he would have to wait 3 years before he could get one because he was born in Australia. And they had a very small quota of people who could get a visa from Australia. So even though his family lived in Northern Ireland, and he met me at the pier, you know, when the dock, when my ship came over there. Well, as it got closer, I started to think, oh God, suppose he's not there. You know, suppose he's not there. And then what will I do? I'll just have to make the best of it and get the next ship back, I guess, that's all, you know. So, but sure enough, we pulled into Southampton, and there he was on the dock. And I was at the, you know, at the top, you know, by the railings too, you know, and he was waving and waving. So, that was such a relief, you know. Yeah. So then, here I come, you know, John comes here with me, you know, and they have this little house, you know, but his parents gave me the room, their room that was the biggest bedroom, you know. Well, I guess they probably wondered what I was going to be like, you see. Before we left to Ireland, we got married. We had gone up to the consulate, you know, the United States consulate, and he was going to apply for a visa. See, but they said, oh, from, you know, Australia, you know, you'll have wait years for that. You know, so we weren't married then when we applied. So then after we left there and we're wondering what to do, you know, and so then I just remember John was going across the street from me. He was going to do some kind of an errand, or he was going to do anything. It was Pottinger's Entry, and he liked to place some of the horses, you know, that the races that they had in Ireland likes their horse races. And but then he's standing, I can see it so plain, he's standing on the other side of the street, on the sidewalk, and I had already crossed the street because I was going to go into a store that was sort of near me here, you know. Then we were going to meet. And then he said, he calls across the street and he says, we could get married. And I said, yeah, we could do that, yeah. So romantic, you know. But, you know, it worked out fine, you know, because, okay, then we got together and we were talking about it, and, you know, we figured that was the best thing to do. And, you know, besides, we loved each other and everything. It was just that it was kind of sudden, you know, we didn't expect, like, to get married right that time. So we had to hurry up and get married. And, but we didn't want to tell his mother and father, because his father was very, like, Northern Ireland, and he was a Protestant, and I was Catholic. So they called them Fenians. I was a Fenian. So he was a little startled that John was going to marry a Fenian. But they liked me very much. They were very sad when I finally had to leave.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Could I tell you once again somehow? Have I said with all my heart and soul how I adore you? Well, darling, I'm telling you now. My world would end without a memory of you. I'm no good without you anyhow. Oh, have I told you lately that I love you?
I decided it's a house for me in 63. That was my motto. It's a house for me in 63.
Oh, when the sun beats down and burns the tar up on the roof, and your shoes get so hot you wish your tired feet were fireproof. Under the boardwalk, down by the sea, yeah, on a blanket with my baby, that's where I'll be.
Under the boardwalk,
Out of the sun,
under the boardwalk,
we'll be having some fun.
under the boardwalk,
People walking above,
under the boardwalk,
we'll be falling in love.
under the boardwalk, boardwalk.
From the park you hear the happy sound of a carousel. You can almost taste the hot dogs and French fries they sell. Under the boardwalk, down by the sea, yeah, on a blanket with my baby is where I'll be.
Under the boardwalk,
Out of the sun,
under the boardwalk,
we'll be having some fun.
under the boardwalk,
People walking above.
under the boardwalk.
Ooh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high, and the dreams that you dream of once in a lullaby. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the dreams that you dream of, dreams really do come true. Ooh, someday you wish upon a star, wake up where the clouds are far behind. Be where trouble melts like lemon drops, high above the chimney top. That's where you find me. Oh, somewhere over the rainbow, bluebirds fly, and the Trouble melts like a lemon drops high above the chimney top. That's where you find me, oh, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high. The dreams that you dare to, why, oh why can't I?
Can't be afraid to do things. I think that's the whole thing. And I think that's why I feel that I had a fun life, even though there were some things that were not fun. But I think that the things that I did, I think I was very brave to do them. And maybe somebody else might think, oh, well, you were pretty stupid to do that, you know, or go there or something like that, you know, you didn't know anybody and you went there, you know, that kind of thing. But you have to be brave to a certain extent. And I think what is important, I think you have to be adventurous. That's the whole thing. And maybe that adventureness is, it's kind of like built in, you know, like I think my mother and father, my mother certainly was very adventurous when she came over here with 4 kids. So, you know, I guess, you know, what happens, happens. And I think that you have to see the good part of it too. You know, you have to see like the fun part of things, because you can always make fun out of lots of things. You can have fun. Or you can sit home and be all dreary and say, oh God, my life sucks, you know, what am I gonna do? Not doing anything, you know. And I figure maybe my life would have been like that if I hadn't had Annalisa who dragged me down to the folk dance group. It was a lot of fun, you know. I think if I had never joined the folk dance group, I don't know what my life would have been like. I mean, it's so strange because everything was there, you know, hooked together with a lot of fun. Such fun. Mm-hmm. Really was.